Hey everyone! Welcome to Sky Alert USA. If you want to stay ahead of wild weather, make sure to follow us for this video and all our future updates. Seriously, don't miss out. Subscribe, like, and drop a comment below to support us.
All right, folks, you heard her. Stick around, because we've got some big weather news headed your way. So here's the deal. We're looking at what could be one of the most insane coast-to-coast storm systems we've seen in weeks. And if you've got Valentine's Day plans this weekend, you might want to hear this because Mother Nature's about to crash the party in a big way. Picture this. Right now, there's a monster atmospheric river slamming into the west coast.
We're talking 8 feet of snow. Yeah, you heard that right. 8 feet. Piling up in some mountain locations over the next 7 days. That's taller than most of you watching this.
The Sierra Nevada is about to get absolutely buried with potentially 100 to 150 inches of snowfall. For skiers, this is like Christmas came late. For everyone else, it's a reminder that winter ain't done with us yet.
But here's where things get really wild. As this beast of a storm rolls east across the Rockies, it's gonna tap into something meteorologists dream about, or have nightmares about, depending on which side of the storm you're on.
We've got Arctic air diving down from Canada, and it's gonna slam headfirst into warm, moist air pushing up from the Gulf of Mexico. When these two air masses collide over the central United States, it's like mixing gasoline and fire. This is textbook severe weather setup, folks.
By Friday and Saturday, this storm is going to explode as it crosses into the southern plains. And when I say explode, I mean we could be looking at a significant severe weather outbreak stretching from Texas and Oklahoma all the way to Alabama and Georgia. We're talking damaging winds, large hail, and yeah, the T word, tornadoes. Multiple tornadoes are on the table here.
Now let's talk about the timing, because this is crucial. Saturday is Valentine's Day, and instead of romance and chocolate, parts of the South could be dealing with severe thunderstorms and tornado warnings. The highest risk zone runs from the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex through Tulsa, Little Rock, Memphis, and down into Jackson, Mississippi. If you live anywhere in this corridor, Saturday afternoon and evening is when you need to be weather aware. Not weather worried, but weather aware. Know where your safe place is, have multiple ways to get warnings, charge your phones. Sunday, this severe weather threat shifts east into Alabama, Georgia, South Carolina, and northern Florida. Remember, just 2 weeks ago, some of these same areas were dealing with ice and snow. Now we're talking severe thunderstorms. That's how dramatically the pattern is shifting. But wait, there's more. And this is the part that's blowing my mind.
While the South is getting hammered with severe weather, the Northeast is about to see some legit snowfall today and tomorrow. We've got an Alberta Clipper. That's a fast-moving low-pressure system that drops out of Canada, currently spinning up near the Great Lakes. This thing's going to dump 3 to 6 inches across upstate New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine, with some spots in eastern Maine potentially seeing 6 to 10 inches. Snow rates could hit 1 inch to 1.5 inches per hour in the heaviest bands tonight.
So we've literally got snow in the Northeast, an atmospheric river, drowning the West Coast mountains in powder, and severe weather brewing for the South. All from the same general weather pattern. This is a meteorologist's fever dream right here. Now here's the kicker that nobody's talking about yet. Next week.
Oh man, next week is gonna be bonkers. After this storm clears out, we're looking at what could be near-record warmth surging into the northern plains and upper Midwest. I'm talking temperatures potentially hitting the 60s and even low 70s in places like Minnesota and Iowa by Tuesday of next week. That's 40 to 45 degrees above average in February in Minnesota. Let that sink in. The GFS model, that's one of our main forecast models, is showing Little Rock, Arkansas in the mid-70s today. Chicago's going to be in the upper 30s and low 40s. By the weekend, we could see Minneapolis hitting the mid to upper 50s. And by Monday and Tuesday, we might be flirting with 70 degrees in parts of southwest Minnesota. That's not just warm, that's historically warm for mid-February. And here's the thing that's got me concerned. If these temperatures verify as warm as models are suggesting, and if we get another storm system rolling through the plains early next week, we could be talking about severe weather potential as far north as Nebraska and Iowa. In February. That's not normal, folks.
Let me break down what's happening to our jet stream, because that's driving all of this chaos. Right now, we've got a massive ridge of high pressure parked over the southern plains. This ridge has been pumping warm air northward for days, which is why Kansas City hit 72 degrees yesterday, warmer than Miami. But on the west coast, we've got a deep trough digging in, and that's allowing this atmospheric river to set up shop and just dump moisture on California, Nevada, Utah, and Colorado. These western states desperately need this snow, by the way. We've been running at record low snowpack levels this winter in Colorado and Utah, which is bad news for water supplies come spring and summer. So while 8 feet of snow sounds crazy, it's actually exactly what the doctor ordered for western water resources.
As we head into late Wednesday and Thursday, that western storm is going to start climbing over the Rockies. The moisture is going to spread into Arizona and New Mexico, with some snow even reaching into eastern Arizona by Friday. It might not look like much at first, just some scattered showers and flurries, but this is the setup phase. This is the storm gathering its strength before it unleashes hell on Saturday. Friday night into Saturday morning, we're going to see this thing really start to organize over Oklahoma and Texas. By Saturday afternoon, the atmosphere is going to be primed. We'll have strong instability, that's the fuel for thunderstorms, streaming up from the Gulf of Mexico. We'll have wind shear. That's what allows storms to rotate and produce tornadoes, increasing across the region. And we'll have a strong upper-level jet streak, providing the dynamics to really get these storms cranking. The composite reflectivity imagery, that's basically our radar forecast, shows a massive blob of heavy rain and thunderstorms developing from Tennessee down through Texas by Saturday morning. By afternoon, that's when individual supercell thunderstorms could start firing up. These are the storms that produce the strongest tornadoes, the largest hail, and the most destructive winds. Saturday evening is probably peak time for severe weather. We're looking at numerous storms potentially going from Missouri down through Louisiana. The tornado risk continues through the evening and overnight into Sunday morning. Then Sunday, as this system pushes into the southeast, places like Birmingham, Atlanta, Columbia, and Jacksonville need to be on alert.
Now, one thing I'm watching closely is the potential for wintry precipitation across the mid-Atlantic and northeast Sunday into Monday. Right now, the models aren't showing a whole lot, maybe some freezing drizzle or light snow across Pennsylvania and New Jersey on the northern edge of the storm system, but this is something worth monitoring. If that storm tracks just a little further north, or if cold air holds on a little longer, we could see some areas dealing with ice or snow. But as of right now, most of the northeast looks like it stays just warm enough to avoid major winter weather from this system.
That's definitely something to keep an eye on as we head into the start of the week.
So let's talk about next week, because this is where forecasting gets really interesting and really uncertain. We've got another powerful atmospheric river event setting up for the West Coast. This means more heavy rain for California valleys, more feet of snow for the mountains, and all that Pacific moisture is eventually going to want to move inland. Both the European and American models are hinting at the potential for significant storm systems developing across the northern tier of the country between February 16th and February 25th. That's a 10-day window where we could see 2, maybe even 3 major storms. These wouldn't be your typical weak February systems. We're talking potentially impactful weather events. The uncertainty comes from how that ridge of high pressure evolves and where exactly these storms track. But one thing's becoming clear. We're transitioning from a relatively quiet winter pattern to a much more active one. And with temperatures running so far above normal, especially across the northern plains and Midwest, the severe weather season could kick off earlier than usual this year. Here's something to think about. We've been dealing with one of the warmest stretches of weather this winter across the Great Plains. Yesterday's 72 degrees in Kansas City isn't just warm. It's warmer than most of Florida was yesterday. That's unbelievable for mid-February. We did get a cold front through Kansas and Missouri this morning, but even behind that front, temperatures are still running about 15 degrees above average. The southeast is also experiencing well above normal temperatures. Wednesday and Thursday, cold air becomes more dominant across the Midwest and Northeast, but we're only talking about 5 to 10 degrees below average, nothing too crazy for mid-February. By Thursday and Friday, warmth continues building across the Great Plains, while the Northeast stays cold. Then we get to the weekend, and that's when the temperature contrast really sets up. The South is going to be abnormally warm, perfect environment for severe storms, while the Northeast remains chilly. After this weekend's storm, we're looking at potential record-breaking heat across the northern plains and Midwest. Let me put this in perspective. If we do see temperatures reach the 60s and 70s across Minnesota, Iowa, and Wisconsin next week, we'd be talking about temperature anomalies of 40 to 45 degrees above average. That's not a typo. Some locations could be running nearly 50 degrees warmer than what's normal for mid-February. The GFS is consistently showing this pattern, so it's not just one rogue model run. There's real agreement that extreme warmth is coming. Now, I always say this when we're looking at forecasts 7 to 10 days out. Things can change. Weather models are great tools, but they're not perfect, especially at longer ranges. That said, the pattern signal for widespread warmth next week is pretty strong across multiple models and multiple forecast cycles. For the Northeast snowfall over the next couple days, here's what we're looking at. Buffalo, New York through Boston and up into northern Maine, widespread 3 to 6 inches. Some locations in eastern Maine could pick up closer to 6 to 10 inches, especially in the higher elevations. This snow is going to pile on top of the foot-plus that's already on the ground across New England. So if you love snow, great news. If you're tired of shoveling, well, get the shovel ready again. On the West Coast, we're looking at an absolutely unbelievable snowfall forecast between now and February 20th. Anywhere you see pink, white, or gray on the snowfall maps, those are areas expecting multiple feet of snow. The Sierra Nevada is the bullseye, 100 to 150 inches of snow over the next week. That's 8 to 12 feet. Some individual storms within this atmospheric river event could drop 2 to 3 feet in 24 hours. This is phenomenal news for ski resorts that have been struggling with below-average snowpack. It's even better news for California's water supply. The snowpack in the Sierra Nevada essentially acts as a natural reservoir, slowly melting through spring and summer to feed streams, rivers, and reservoirs. After a winter that's been running below average for snowfall in many western states, this atmospheric river event is exactly what was needed. Colorado and Utah have been particularly hard hit by the lack of snow this winter, with some areas at record low snowpack for this time of year. While they won't see quite the same snow totals as California, they're still going to pick up significant accumulations, potentially several feet in the high country over the next week. This will definitely help, though they'd need several more events like this to fully recover to normal snowpack levels.
Yeah, that's a lot to process, but it's shaping up to be a pretty wild stretch of weather ahead.
So let's recap where we are. Today through Wednesday, Northeast gets moderate to heavy snow from that Alberta clipper. Wednesday through Friday, the West Coast atmospheric river ramps up with flooding rain in valleys and feet of snow in the mountains. Friday night through Sunday, a significant severe weather outbreak develops across the South, with tornadoes, damaging winds, and large hail possible from Texas to the Carolinas. Sunday into Monday, the storm system pushes offshore, but could bring some wintry mix to parts of the mid-Atlantic. Next week, extreme warmth builds across the northern tier, with potential for additional storm systems. If you're in the severe weather risk zone this weekend, and that's basically anywhere from eastern Texas through Oklahoma, Arkansas, Louisiana, Tennessee, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, and into the Carolinas, here's what you need to do. First, know your county. Severe weather warnings are issued by county, so you need to know what county you live in and what counties are around you. Second, have multiple ways to receive warnings. Your phone is great, but phones can die or lose signal. Have a weather radio, have a weather app, have local TV on if storms are approaching. Third, know where your safe place is. For tornadoes, that's the lowest level of your building in an interior room away from windows. Put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. Fourth, charge your devices ahead of time. If storms knock out power, you want your phone fully charged. Fifth, don't wait until the last minute. If a tornado warning is issued for your county, get to your safe place immediately.
Stay safe out there, folks, and remember, being prepared makes all the difference when severe weather strikes.
For those in the Northeast dealing with snow today and tomorrow, it's pretty straightforward winter weather. Snow rates of an inch or more per hour mean roads are gonna get slick quickly. Give yourself extra time, drive slowly, and remember that bridges and overpasses freeze first. The heaviest snow falls tonight into Wednesday morning, then tapers off through Wednesday afternoon and evening.
West Coast folks, if you're in the mountains, this is a multi-day event. Travel through mountain passes is gonna be extremely difficult to impossible at times. Sierra Nevada could see near zero visibility in heavy snow and wind. Chain requirements will be in effect. If you don't absolutely have to travel through the mountains this week, don't. If you do have to travel, make sure you have emergency supplies. Food, water, blankets, flashlights, first aid kit, phone chargers, and check road conditions before you leave. Caltrans and other state DOTs will be providing frequent updates.
It's important to stay vigilant and prepared, no matter where you are. Winter weather can change fast, so just keep an eye on your local updates.
Looking at the bigger picture, this pattern we're getting into is pretty classic for active severe weather seasons. When you get these big temperature contrasts set up across the central United States, cold air to the north, warm moist air to the south, and an active jet stream to provide the dynamics, that's when you get repeated rounds of severe weather. We could be seeing the beginning of an early and active severe weather season. Climate-wise, it's worth noting that we've been running well above average temperatures across much of the country this winter. The persistent warmth, especially across the Great Plains and upper Midwest, is consistent with broader climate trends. Warmer winters, earlier springs, and shifts in precipitation patterns are all things we're seeing play out in real time.
These changes aren't just numbers on a chart, they're happening right now, and they affect how we prepare for and respond to weather events.
But here's what I want to emphasize. Despite all this talk about warmth and changes in patterns, severe weather preparedness never goes out of style. Whether it's February or May, whether it's a typical pattern or an unusual one, when severe weather threatens, the same safety principles apply. Take warnings seriously, have a plan, know where to go, and don't take unnecessary risks. This weekend's severe weather potential is real. The Storm Prediction Center will be issuing outlooks and watches. Local National Weather Service offices will be issuing warnings. Listen to them. If they say, take shelter, take shelter. These aren't practice drills. Tornadoes in February aren't as common as tornadoes in April or May, but they're just as dangerous. One more thing I'm watching closely, and I'll probably be doing a live stream on this Saturday, possibly Sunday too, is how this storm evolves in real time. Sometimes these setups overperform, and we get more widespread severe weather than expected. Sometimes they underperform, and the threat doesn't fully materialize. The difference often comes down to small-scale features that we can't fully resolve until the day of the event. That's why it's important to stay weather-aware, not just weather-worried. Check forecasts regularly, especially as we get closer to the weekend. For next week's potential warmth and possible additional storm systems, we're going to need to watch how the pattern evolves through this weekend's storm. The models have been pretty consistent about significant warmth building in, but the specifics of any storm systems are still unclear. I'll have updates as we get more data and as model agreement improves.
Staying alert and prepared is the best way to keep yourself and your loved ones safe, no matter what the forecast brings.
Bottom line, this is a coast-to-coast weather event with multiple impacts. Snow for the Northeast and West. Severe weather for the South. Extreme warmth for the Northern Plains. And more active weather likely to follow next week. It's a lot to track, but that's why we do these forecasts. To keep you informed and keep you safe. If you're new here, make sure to subscribe. Hit that bell icon so you're notified when I post updates, because I'll be putting out frequent updates on that severe weather situation this weekend. We're also on Facebook and Twitter at MaxVelocityW. Follow us there for quick hits and additional information. There's a good chance we'll be live streaming Saturday for the severe weather outbreak. Maybe Sunday too, depending on how things evolve. Stay safe out there, stay weather aware, and we'll see you